Did you guys sit around, you and Coach Tanner and the rest of the assistants, did you guys kind of sit around and say, you know what, we've got a group that if we stay healthy and things kind of go our way, like you really felt like, or did you maybe see what happened in 2010 coming? Like, did you feel like you had that type of squad?
No, actually, no. We were actually we had some concerns about the depth of our pitching staff going into 2010, and that reared its ugly head right out of the gate. I think we went to East Carolina again and lost 2 out of 3 to start the season, and then the infamous Clemson rolled into Founders Park and I think beat us 19-6.
Yep.
And then that Tuesday we are losing 3-0 to one of Coach Tanner's former players, Valparaiso. We're losing to Valparaiso 3-0. So we'd lost a weekend opening series. We got demolished, embarrassed at home to Clemson, and then we're losing to the natives were not happy. And I remember a funny story is Coach Tanner actually was sitting beside me in the dugout and was like apologized to me. It was like we're not a good team. I mean, I can hear him and say we're not a good team. I'm sorry I brought you down here for this, something like to that effect. And I was like, and we always felt like we were going to be good and we were competitive. At that time, we weren't playing well, but I can't sit here and tell you, and I don't think Coach Tanner could, was when you're getting your brains beat out by your rival, you don't sit there and say, hey, this is a national championship team. We thought we had a lot of work to do. We thought we had some ability. We were worried about the pitching depth. But as the season unfolded, that depth, we found some. And some kids started pitching their hearts out and pitching really, really well. And about the middle of that year, I felt like we had a team that could do something special. We were competing against the best teams in the SEC and winning our fair share. And then the team just felt like they weren't going to lose. So we kind of got we call it magic in a bottle, so to speak, and had special players that wouldn't accept anything short of winning, and collectively as a group, that momentum started to carry on. And then we had some things, spiritual is not the right word, but we had some things going on off the field that you could tell it was a group of kids coming together. It was a special feeling. And, from how much they cared about how they performed on the field to how much they cared about each other and to how much they cared about some others in the community. You just got the feeling it was a special group.
Yeah, it's funny you say spiritual. I think specifically to the spirit stick, and I know all Gamecock fans probably remember, and it was Parker Bangs that I had on. He told me, he's like, man, you should have seen forgot which coach it was. He's like, you should have seen the coach's face when they walked in the locker room. We had all the lights off. We're acting like a fool and just shaking his head like these are just, I mean, who are these guys? But you mentioned again that 10 season. I know we're talking obviously because the 2011 season is the 10-year anniversary, which it's really nice, by the way, to have back-to-back years where it's a 10-year anniversary winning a national title. Not many have that luxury. But no, you mentioned, like I said, the pitching depth. In that 2010 season, the guy that jumps out to me is a guy like Blake Cooper. I mean, what he did going just Friday after Friday against the best guys. I mean, these first rounders, and he's just going out and beating them. And then you think of Sam Dyson and the way Matt Price stepped up, and John Taylor and Jose Mata. And I think of a guy that I've had on my show like Adrian Morales, who, I mean, that guy will have you ready to run through a brick wall just talking to him. And obviously he's doing great things down in Florida coaching now. But that run in 10, because I think it's a lot different. And talking to Adrian, he made this point too, that 11, and we're going to get to it in a second, but 11 felt a lot more business-like. Like, you guys knew you were the best, bottom line. We're going to go out and do our job. 10 was a much different vibe in the sense you're trying to break through and do something that had never been done before. And I think you make the great point of it was a group of guys kind of almost trying to learn how to win, or learn how to win at that level, if you will, and come together and make it happen, kind of break through the odds, if you will. Like, what are the things, again, there's so many memories, I'm sure, but just what sticks out to you about that run most specifically, even if you just want to talk about Omaha? Because, again, you lose game one. You lose, and it's so funny. I mean, it's wild to hear a guy like Michael Roth say, yeah, I kind of thought we were going home. And I'm like, dude, you literally started like 2 days later. But like him, had Matthews, and it's like, everybody was kind of like, well, I guess this was fun. I mean, it's a good trip to Omaha, but you guys are able to be resilient, come back. I mean, defy the odds. Jackie Bradley's hit against Oklahoma, beating Clemson twice, taking down big bad UCLA. I mean, there's just so many great moments and memories, from that run that you guys had in 2010, eventually leading to the national championship.
Well, and here's, you mentioned the fact that we lost the first game, but it goes back further than that. we were playing Florida for the SEC East Championship, the last regular season weekend of the year at home. And, we felt very good that we were the favored team and that we were going to win and we were going to, win a championship and celebrate on our field. And it didn't work out that way.
Yep.
So we lost 2 out of 3 to Florida. And then we went to Hoover for the SEC tournament and lost 2 in a row. So we
House of Horrors in Hoover for Carolina baseball.
We had lost 4 out of 5 going into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
All right. So it's not very good.
Right,
and
right.
then the first game of the NCAA tournament, we're losing. Things were getting really tight. We're in the 6th inning, and we're losing 5-1 to Bucknell. And that's when the rain delay happened. That's when the infamous Spirit Stick was born, I believe. And that's when all the lights were out, and they were trying to have a meeting at that point in time.
Right.
But that was the beginning of an incredible run, and came back and won that game. I remember Jackie hit a big home run against Bucknell, kind of the left field there, that kind of got us ahead and let us breathe a little bit easier. And we got through that regional, and we were sitting in a pretty good spot. But lo and behold, that Coastal Carolina team that we were facing in 2010, to this day, and I've told their coaches this a number of times, it might have been the best team we played that whole season.
Yeah. Everybody I've had on has said that. Literally every player I've had on said that was the best team we played all year long.
Yeah, they were phenomenal, and in their own park. And, again, we just had a group that kind of overcame some adversity. We weren't deep like we wanted to be in the bullpen at that time. We still didn't know who Michael Roth was at that point in time,
right.
And we didn't feel like going to a game 3 against Coastal was going to be any good for us, to be quite honest with you. And then that big inning, and some magical things happened that inning before Christian hit that big home run, and just a phenomenal 2 days for us. And then like you said, this is a funny story. We were in Omaha, and we'd lost to Oklahoma, and I was on the phone on one of these radio shows in town, and I was kind of being put on hold because we were calling every off day. The media people would want to talk to folks out in the college world. We just lost. It was the day after we lost to Oklahoma. And I was on hold, I believe, with Jay Phillips from 107.5 The Game. And they put me on hold, and I could still hear the show going on while they tried to get, to their guest. And one of the guys that was on the phone that called in, actually called in and was letting us have it pretty good. Still upset from the loss. And I remember the quote was, the game has passed Ray Tanner by. We need to make a change in our baseball program. I was like, man, we're sitting out here in the College World. This is harsh. We're sitting out here in the College World Series. We're one of the last 8 teams standing, and they think our coach is not in a good spot. And lo and behold, after that game, that loss, we went on to win, I believe, 22 NCAA tournament games in a row?
A record that'll never be broken.
Yeah, that thing will stand for a long period of time, and something that we're awfully lucky and proud of, and awfully lucky to be a part of.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you kind of in a joking way, but you mentioned that Coastal Carolina game 2, and I forget who it was that told me, but like you said, some magical things happened before Christian Walker's homer, and like I said, I forget the player. Maybe it was Bobby Haney or somebody, but basically said that. Again, I was going to ask you, is Coach Tanner the baseball god? Because we talk about the baseball gods. Like, I've had guys again. Forrest Kumis is a good buddy of mine. He talked about, dude, Coach Tanner would literally walk you through exactly what's going to happen and then who's going to get the hit, and it would happen exactly as he described it. And he said that was one of those moments where he's like, all right, Jackie's going to get on. We're going to steal him. We're going to do it. Christian's going to hit a home run. We're going to win this game. We're going to go to the College World Series. And it's like, it literally happened as he described it. Like, and there's just been so many stories I've heard that are just like that. Like, if Coach Tanner said it ain't going to rain and we're going to play, we're going to play. It's like,
some things happened that were a little bit crazy in that, that run. He predicted the big home run against UConn for Christian. He said, hey, this guy's going to throw you a change up and be sitting on it and hit out of the park. Let's get back to Omaha. I remember that clear as day. And that's lo and behold what happened. Kid threw him a change up and Christian hit it out of the park, and the rest is history. But that day we were down 2 runs at the time, and they were going to their All-American closer. And I remember, Ray, everyone was on deck, and Coach Tanner looked at him and said, hey, you 2 guys are going to get on. I think it was Witt and Morales. He looked at both of them and said, hey, you 2 guys are going to get on, and he's going to hang a slider to Walker, and we're going to win this game. I remember that was clear as day. And, Walker's looking at him like, yeah, right. He's losing his mind. And lo and behold, I think Morales maybe said, no, I'm going to hit a 2-run homer and tie this thing up or something like that. And Morales always wanted to be.
He wanted that moment. He wanted
that moment. But lo and behold, that's kind of what happened. Those two kids fought their way on base. And I believe Jackie had an incredible at bat, like 10 or 11 pitch at bat, and fought off some really, really good pitches. And then, same thing. What happened? He goes, he's going to throw a slider that's going to back up, and Walker's going to hit it out, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I gave him one of these. Like, all right, come out the shoes, let's go. Come out the shoes. That's what he did for sure. I know this is kind of a tough question to answer, but I just want to get your take on it again. We all know Whit Merrifield walk-off hit. First national championship in school history, the first national title for you. And again, it's somebody that had been so close. Again, you had been there with UNC. You get there with South Carolina to finally win one. Just can you describe the emotions of that, to finally get to the pinnacle?
Well, you only dream as a kid, as a coach, you watch the College World Series on TV and you dream of just being able to go, being able to participate in it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the dream to win it ever really, I really believed it. I was like, man, we can just get there. Anything can happen. And the feeling is still to this day is indescribable. I mean, I can take you back through the emotions of that whole inning, pitch by pitch, and it's a crazy thing. And I remember the conversations with Wingo at third base. We were 90 feet away at that time, and Whit was facing a really, really good pitcher, and things weren't anywhere close to being over at that point in time. Because lo and behold, if we don't win that game, we got Trevor Bauer next, and that wasn't going to be fun, so we had to take advantage of this opportunity. And we had an incredible at bat. And the conversations I had with Wingo as that was unfolding was incredible, and what a special kid he was and is. And it was a magical moment. And I'm so blessed that I got to be a part of that. And those kids and that team allowed me to be a part of it. It was an incredible feeling for sure. And, and then, I know you've probably heard this story, but after we win that one, we're going to the airport the next day, and Columbia's euphoric, and, they can't wait for us to get home. And, from parades to what was waiting on us at the basketball arena. I mean, we heard all the stories, but, when you're away so far, you can't grasp it, so to speak. And all you hear is like, man, Columbia can't wait for you guys to get home. And so we're all anxious to get to the airport. And Coach Tanner tells the bus driver to go another way. And so we don't go directly to the airport. We go by the construction site of the new stadium. Mm. And Coach stood up and stopped the bus and said, hey, ain't gonna be cool. We won the last one in Rosenblatt. We're gonna win the first one here. And I was like, that's really, really cool. And